I have to ask you about diversity in publishing. That is a hobby horse of mine, and hopefully a hobby horse of most people in publishing at this point.
Yeah.
Is we want to increase representation in novels. What is McIntosh and Otis doing to make that happen? And what are you doing? And what are you seeing publishers doing?
Well, it's personally very important for me that anything with diverse representation in the story is own voices. Um, so that is definitely something that I always pay attention to when I'm queried. If not that some white person is writing about, an African American or someone outside of their background. It's actually someone in that background writing that story. I think that's super important. And I, participate in DV Pit, and the We Need Diverse Books movement is so important. The AAR, the Association of Authors Representatives, they do an internship slot every year for diverse applicants. So we've hired some applicants through that program, because it's also important not just on the author side of things, but also making sure that there are more editors and people in publishing who are, people of color from marginalized backgrounds as well, because publishing is still very white as far as people who work in it. So I think that's also a very important step that we need to do a lot more work on. And, the We Need Diverse Book movement has done so much, as has DV Pit. But I think we as publishing professionals still need to do a lot more and prioritize, getting those books out, because I think it's so important that every child, every reader can see themselves as a main character in a story. And that's not just a contemporary, it's like seeing them in different genres, like seeing, themselves as a main character in a fantasy or a horror or any genre, not just more issue driven stuff. So across the board, that's so important. So I'm glad that we are taking steps in that direction, but we need to do more for sure. We need to keep growing that.
I 100% agree. Lamar Giles, when he was on, check it out in the archives if you haven't already, esteemed audience. It's a great episode. His point was, we will know that we're doing all right when we can see more mediocre books by authors of color. Because if they're publishing the mediocre stuff, then we're not just looking at the best available. We're getting the same amount of representation. So that's my half jokey response to what our ultimate goal should be: is more mediocre books across the board by everyone.
Yes.